Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So, do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can become a success at Manchester United? Now, I do believe from my own perception that Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Manchester United. Yes, he does. Because, it does take some managers time to settle in. And, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now for around 15 months, including the time, when he was the interim manager in that 3 month period. But yeah, he does deserve at least another season because, Jurgen Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool. So it took him time, to emulate to a level, that he's at now. Also, too, Alex Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club when we recommended him in from Aberdeen back in 1984. And obviously, when Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years when we got him in, we didn't think, he would have become a successful manager, but he did. And look what he accomplished after that, 4 years of not winning anything. We won the vast majority of our silverware under Alex Ferguson. Ferguson endured 26, or was it 27 years at Manchester United. And since Alex Ferguson's retirement back in 2013, Manchester United have been playing catch up for the last 6 or 7 years. Obviously, after Ferguson's retirement, we saw David Moyes come in. We know, obviously, David Moyes was never going to be the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. Moyes only endured 8 or 9 months with the football club. Ferguson, of course, was at fault for ever recommending David Moyes in. The main explanation why I recommended David Moyes in is because they was both Scottish. He did really, really well at Everton before he came to Man United because he endured around, was it 10 or 11 years with Everton, but he was never going to succeed at Manchester United, so we got rid of David Moyes. Then obviously, Louis van Gaal, he also came in. Obviously, we did win the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal's guidance. But obviously, he wasn't the right man again to elevate Manchester United forward. Then obviously, Jose Mourinho came in after Louis van Gaal, and he endured 2.5 years at Manchester United, did Jose Mourinho. Did win 2 trophies in his first season with the football club. He won the Europa League and he won the League Cup. Also, too, got a second place, but, wasn't good enough. Jose Mourinho's tenure at Manchester United didn't work out. It's because, he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and the board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend into the football club. But I'll reiterate what I said on my recent videos. Jose Mourinho has passed his sell-by date. He's no longer a manager to the top level, and he has got a good pedigree, and that reflects on the amount of silverware he has won, but he isn't a good enough manager anymore. So we've had different managers with different philosophies, and Solskjaer's our fourth permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. But he does deserve more time at the football club because, take into account, Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. So far Solskjaer has recruited 5 players in free transfer windows and spent around £220 million. But like I mentioned, he's inheriting the vast majority of Jose Mourinho's players. There's still a couple of players here from the Van Gaal era. There's still matter here from the David Moyes era. And I still think there's a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So Solskjaer does deserve at least another transfer window to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. Now, like I've said to you, there's a lot of lot of positives you can take from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure so far, but there's also quite a few negatives you can take, from his tenure so far. And that the positives are, like I mentioned, with the players he's recruited in so far. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in. Around 9 players have left Manchester United since he got recommended in. We saw Ashley Young leave this year after he endured 8.5 years at the football club. He went to Inter Milan. We saw Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes this year. More than likely we'll negotiate on getting rid of Rojo on a permanent transfer. We also saw, Matteo Darmian leave last summer. We saw Ander Herrera leave last summer. Marian Fellaini went back in January 2019. He was the first player Solskjaer got rid of. Fellaini did enjoy 6 years at Manchester United. And also, too, we saw Lukaku go to Inter Milan last summer, and we saw Alexis Sanchez go out on loan to Inter Milan, and Dean Henson is out on loan with Sheffield United. But he's expected to come back to Manchester United after his loan spell with Sheffield United. And Valencia, of course, left last summer after he enjoyed 10 years at Manchester United. So he's got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. I do believe Man United are going to get rid of around 5 players, maybe 6 players in the summer. So that's something else I do credit him for. We've been in a good vein of form. You know, at Man United, we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, and this is our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, because Solskjaer got the job permanently, reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager. Because, you know, when he was the interim manager, he won his first 8 games, he only lost one of his first 17 games, and he won 14 out of 19 in all competitions, so that was enough to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job permanently. The negative is, you know, since Solskjaer's got the job permanently, his record has been disastrous. I think his record is as bad as David Moyes. But there again, you know, Solskjaer's record at Cardiff, you know, was disastrous in that. Also, another thing I've got to credit Solskjaer for, that, you know, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players. I think he's promoted the youth really, really well. And, you know, he said at the start of this season that the young players would get given their opportunities, and the young players have been given their opportunities. So that's something else I've got to credit him for. But overall, when we recommended Solskjaer in anyway, he said, you know, all the players will get their chances to express themselves. But that's something else I do credit him for. We've also done very, very well against the big six sides this season. I think we've registered like 17 points against the big six sides this season. So I've got to be honest with you, Solskjaer's approach to big games have been very, very good. So that's something else I do credit him for. Yes, it is. But the negatives is that, you know, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. We have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. You know, he's inexperienced as a manager, but, you know, think about, you know, the longer he remains in the Manchester United job, he's going to be gaining more experience. Also, too, you know, towards the back end of last season, we'd lost 5 of our last 9 league games, so that's also a negative. And, you know, we haven't been brilliant against lower opposition since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in. But we've had some big wins under Solskjaer, you know, obviously, you know, 5-1 against Cardiff. That was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game as Manchester United manager. 5-0 against Lask, the last game we played, 6-0 against Tranmere, 4-0 against Chelsea on the opening day of the season, 5-0 against Club Brugge. So we've had some big wins under Solskjaer, 4-1 against Newcastle. I think our worst defeat under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the 4-0 defeat to Everton last April. You know, don't forget, after that game, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had come out and made a public apology. So I did credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot for that. I did credit him a lot for that, but, you know, he definitely deserves more time at Manchester United. And also, I've got to credit Solskjaer for is because, you know, he has progressed Manchester United to the last 8 of the Europa League. He's also progressed to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and they are two ambitions for Manchester United, because the FA Cup and the Europa League is a chance of us getting some silverware on the board. As it stands in the league at the moment, we are sitting 5th. So we are in a Champions League spot because, as you all know, Manchester City are banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. Obviously for breaking financial fair play rules. So it's very imperative that Manchester United get qualification for the Champions League for next season, because if we can get qualification for the Champions League, then we've got more chance of recruiting the right players into Manchester United in the summer. So let's just put that into the equation. And I think Solskjaer's got around, 2 years left on his contract. I'm still very, very sceptical, by the way, that he is the long-term solution for Manchester United. Do you think Man United can win their 21st title under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era? Do let me know in your comments below. But, you know, he's aware of the pressure Solskjaer that he's been under this season. He's been under so much pressure. And, you know, and he's obviously still under pressure now, because when the season does eventually resume, he'll be under pressure to keep this good run of form up. You know, he'll be under pressure to keep this good run of form up and that. But, like I said, I think, he definitely deserves more time at the football club, and he's laid the foundations. He's laid the foundations into place now. And for analysing it as well, for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, and from my own perception, that 4-2-3-1 formation doesn't really seem to suit our standards. We look much more expansive with a 3-5-2 formation. We look much better with three at the back. Occasionally he's gone with a 4-3-3. I think he went a lot with a 4-3-3 when he was the interim manager, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He went a lot with a 4-3-3 then. But, like I've said, analysing it throughout the course of this season, there hasn't only been problems with the management, hasn't there? A lot of United fans have been doubting the Glazers, the club's ownership. We've also been very, very critical of Ed Woodward. We've also been very, very sceptical about the board. But I've got to be honest with you, we look a much better team now. Solskjaer, don't forget, was talking about how he had to overhaul the squad, when he replaced Jose Mourinho back in December 2018, because I think he's changed quite a lot, like he's changed the players, the personnel, the tactics, the likes of Luke Shaw, Martial, Fred, they look much better under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance, because under Mourinho, Fred never really got his opportunities. Martial, endured difficult times under him. Luke Shaw endured difficult times under him. So things have changed under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, to be quite honest with you. But Man United, as like I mentioned, haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. A lot of money's been spent at Manchester United in the last, 7 years or so. I think we've spent nearly £1 billion on, recruiting new players in. Moyes, he obviously, brought Fellaini and Mata in. Louis van Gaal, he brought players like Schneiderlin, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Daley Blind, Falcao, Di Maria, Memphis Depay. He brought all them players in, did Louis van Gaal. And he spent a substantial amount at the football club. And like I said, Jose Mourinho brought 11 players in. There's still 9 of those players here now. So hopefully, when Solskjaer does eventually, leave Manchester United, he will leave a better squad behind than the one he inherited. There's still some reports coming out saying that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if Man United failed to qualify for the Champions League, then, possibly Solskjaer could still be axed at the end of the season. If Solskjaer is to be sacked by Manchester United, then it's very, very likely that probably Pochettino would be our next manager. If not Pochettino, possibly Massimiliano Allegri, because Pochettino's been relentlessly linked with the managerial role at Manchester United, and there's been a lot of narratives about Massimiliano Allegri possibly becoming our next manager. But, whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure works out or not, we'll never forget what he's done for the football club, because he was a great long-serving player for Manchester United. He enjoyed 11 years with the club and flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. One of his most iconic moments as a player was back in 1999 when he won the club the treble. One of his most iconic moments as a manager was that 3-1 win against PSG. That actual game, was the one that gave Solskjaer the job permanently. But there again, you can say another iconic match was the Manchester City game, our last league game we played when we beat City by 2-0. That was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 50th Premier League game as Manchester United manager. Yes, it wasn't that. Man United, by the way, I think paid, was it $1 million to get him in as the interim manager? Then, when we give him the job permanently, I think we paid around a further £7 or £8 million to Mould. You got to admire what he did at Mould, because he did quite well. He won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould, did Solskjaer. But, like I mentioned, does deserve more time. He's been permanent Manchester United manager now for a year. And obviously, analysing his tenure, there has been ups and there's also been downs. But it's just basically, since Bruno Fernandes has come in, he seemed to have made a difference in the team. His decision-making's good. He's very, very instrumental. Don't forget, he won Premier League Player of the Month for February, reflecting on his good run of performances. So our win ratio's been far superior to how it was, before Bruno Fernandes came in. So he's definitely making a difference in the team. But Solskjaer wants someone to come in, to partner up with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. And it is good that Solskjaer is making plans for the summer transfer window. He's making plans for the summer transfer window. He's got the backing of Ed Woodward. He's also got the backing of the Glazers. And, quite a lot of players are still determined to back Solskjaer. Solskjaer, has identified the two areas where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. And he thinks, we need a right winger. And we also need a central midfielder. Don't forget, Manchester United are in search for a centre forward. But Solskjaer believes we need around, 3 signings to become title contenders next season. Because we do obviously, want to win the league again. Don't forget, Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic history, a fantastic fan base. We are the most successful team in England with 20 titles, 13 of them Premier League titles. But we do want to win the Premier League again. We don't want to go, 30 years, like it's taken Liverpool to win, the Premier League. And it's going to be Liverpool's first Premier League title, by the way. So I think Man United need to win it within the next 2 to 3 years. So, we don't go we don't go 30 years, like Liverpool have done. Because as it stands at the moment, we haven't won the Premier League for 7 years. The last time we won it was back in 2013 in Alex Ferguson's last season. But we want to win some silverware under Solskjaer anyway, because we haven't won out yet in terms of silverware under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But we will see what happens. But yeah, it's good that he's making plans for the summer transfer window. Now, the players that are on Manchester United's agenda, I think it's very, very imminent that Manchester United are going to sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. Now, obviously, I was giving you the news, yesterday, and it said that the Irish Independent had come out and they said it's unofficially confirmed that Jadon Sancho will complete a transfer to Manchester United in the summer. Man United as well are willing to offer him the iconic number 7 shirt, because like I mentioned, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. Recent number 7s, though, haven't been so good. But I think he'd operate very, very well in number 7 at Manchester United. We're going to have to make Jadon Sancho our most expensive signing, because he's going to cost us in the excess of around £120 million, is Jadon Sancho. At least £100 million, but either figure is going to make him our most expensive signing and a record signing in the Premier League. Man United as well are willing to offer him a £400,000 a week contract, so that's also going to make him the highest paid player at the club. That's double than what Marcus Rashford's on, because Rashford is on around £200,000 a week. So let's just put that into the equation. It still says, Liverpool are interested in him, and the FSG owners are willing to pay the £120 million that Dortmund want. Chelsea have been in for him, Madrid, PSG, a number of clubs have been in for Jadon Sancho. Now, what was coming out yesterday was totally contrast to what was coming out the day before, because it said the day before that the Borussia Dortmund CEO will not stand in Sancho's way if he wants to leave Dortmund this summer. But, Dortmund have come out and said, Man United have got to pay their full asking price if we are to sign Jadon Sancho this summer. But I think Man United are determined to pay Dortmund's full asking price. Yes, we are. Now, obviously, Sky in Germany confirmed, didn't they, last month that, Sancho's expected to leave Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season. News came out from Fabrizio Romano the other week, who's an Italian journalist, and he said Man United have been working on Sancho's contract, and also have been in contact with his agent for around 2 months. So this is what Fabrizio Romano had said. So Duncan Castles, he came out before him, and he said Man United are interested in signing Jadon Sancho in the summer, but we are the favourites to sign him in the summer. And don't forget, Duncan Castles tends to be close to Manchester United. If I do remember rightly, didn't he break out the news on Harry Maguire? He also broke out the news on Wan-Bissaka, did Duncan Castles. So I think we are going to sign Jadon Sancho in the summer. Sancho is now into his 3rd season at Borussia Dortmund, and I think he's been a revelation since his arrival in Germany. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2022. Borussia Dortmund paid around £7 or £8 million to him from Man City, And the beneficial thing is as well, he's played in the Premier League. He enjoyed a couple of years with Manchester City, but never really got assured any first team opportunities. So that's the main explanation why he left Manchester City. And plus, the beneficial thing about him coming in as well is because he's got a great friendship with Marcus Rashford. He's also an admirer of Martial, and he also is an admirer of Mason Greenwood. And he explained this other week that he wanted to come to Man United as well because of three players that I think he does rate a lot, to be quite honest with you. But Sancho is predominantly a right winger. Occasionally, you can play him centrally, and he is only at the age of 20. And I think a lot of people as well are excited about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy because he does want to continue the policy of recruiting young players into the football club. But Sancho, would go well in our attacking line alongside the likes of Martial, Rashford, Greenwood. He would do really, really well, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, so I think he's probably going to be our first signing in the summer and our sixth signing overall under the Solskjaer era, and that's if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager going on into next season. Obviously as well, I give you the news regarding Jack Grealish yesterday. Some people still believe that Jack Grealish's transfer to Manchester United is still on. Obviously, Jack Grealish had crashed his £80,000 Range Rover into three parked cars in the West Midlands. After I think he'd been at 4 a.m. He'd been at a party till 4 a.m. or something like that. He'd been at a party till 4 a.m. And I think hours before this incident, Jack Grealish had actually, urged people to stay at home, due to the coronavirus. Jack Grealish, of course, I think has come out and made an apology, for this incident. Obviously, the police have investigated it. I think Jack Grealish is set to be fined £150,000 for this. So he'll obviously, be very, very disappointed about that. So due to this incident, possibly, his summer transfer now to Manchester United could be off, Jack Grealish's. Now, I'm not going to fully disregard it because, he could still possibly come to Manchester United in the summer. Jack Grealish is one of our number one priority targets. Now, it has been revealed how much Jack Grealish will cost Man United, and I think he'll cost us around he costs us in the 60-odd or 70-odd million pound range if Villa were to avoid relegation. If Villa were to get relegated, then I don't think he'd cost us as much as £70 million. Maybe we could get him for around 30, maybe £40 million or something like that. So basically, we'd get him on the cheap. Now, Emil Heskey, who's a former Aston Villa player, he believes that Grealish would be a great addition to the squad if he was to come to Manchester United. And he's very adamant, Emil Heskey, that Grealish will leave Aston Villa at the end of the season. Even if Villa avoid relegation, that still may not be enough to convince Jack Grealish to remain loyal to them. Because he's remained loyal to them for several years now, because he's spent the vast majority of his career with Aston Villa. He's been a Villa player since the age of 6. He's been their senior squad since 2014, and he's become an integral part of He's become an integral part of Villa's team, and he's flourished under Dean Smith's guidance, I've got to be honest with you. He has got a contract with Villa until 2023. I don't think there's any buyout clause inserted. Revert back to the summer of 2018, Tottenham were very, very close to getting him for around £25 million, but they didn't. But I honestly do believe that Grealish is going to follow the footsteps of Gareth Barry and James Milner, because they're also former Aston Villa players. And I think Grealish is going to rejuvenate his career. I really, really do. And I think he did reveal how much wages he would want a week if he was to come to Man United. And he said he wanted around £150,000 a week. And Manchester United are willing to give Jack Grealish this. But Grealish has become key to Villa's, he became key to Villa's promotion to the Premier League. Became key to them getting to the Carabao Cup final and that. So possibly Man United could still sign Jack Grealish in the summer. So we get Sancho and Grealish. That's going to cost us at least £200 million for both players. I've also, been keeping up to date of, the news on Saul Niguez, because reports were coming out yesterday morning saying that Manchester United are convinced that, we can complete a record transfer for Saul Niguez. He is expected to cost us in the region of around £135 million. Of course, that's going to make them one of the most expensive players in the world, and of course, our record signing, because his release clause is around £135 million, is Saul Niguez. basically, it's reiterating on the news of Solsjaker of last week. It's reiterating because last week he said Man United and Man City were in for him because Atletico Madrid had been in talks over getting Solsjaker a new contract, but he turned down this contract offer. So he actually could be on his way out of Atletico Madrid, could Solsjaker. Now, Man United have been in for quite some time. Man City have been long admirers of him. Up until this point, Solskjaer has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid, I think prior to one season, and he's close now to making 300 appearances for Atletico Madrid in all competitions. He is 25 years of age, by the way, and he has still got a lot of development in him as Solskjaer. And he's got a contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026. So he's got 6 years remaining on his contract because back in 2017, Solskjaer had signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. He can play as a central or a holding midfielder, but when he was younger, he was predominantly a centre half. So we're actually seeing Solskjaer as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. But like I mentioned, there is uncertainty over Paul Pogba's future at the moment. I give you the news on Paul Pogba, didn't I? And I reiterated it a few times yesterday. There's possibility chance that Ramsey could come to Manchester United as part of a swap deal of Pogba making a return back to Turin. Also, there's been quite a few forwards on Manchester United. And that, yeah, so that could also happen. But there's been a few strikers on Manchester United's agenda, like I've also updated you on, because Manchester United do need another centre forward in there, despite the fact how good Odion Ighalo has done. Because Odion Ighalo's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career in that. And probably more than likely, we're going to get him on a permanent transfer in the summer. It's going to cost us around £15 million to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent transfer, but Manchester United still need another striker in there. Yesterday night, didn't I give you the news regarding Harry Kane? Very sceptical about him coming to Man United, but don't forget he's come out and made an admission saying he could leave Tottenham if the team don't progress, and he won't stay at Tottenham for the sake of it. So Kane has fueled speculation up. Could come to Man United, but I'm very, very sceptical about it happening. Would cost us in the £150 million range if we were to get him in. But like I said, there's cheaper solutions than Harry Kane out there. Aubameyang would be, it cost 3 times less than him. Timo Werner would cost 3 times less than him. So there's cheaper solutions out there than Harry Kane. But we have got a lot of good attacking players. Martial's done well recently. He's rejuvenated himself. Rashford was one of our best players early on in the season before he sustained this back injury. Greenwood's done very, very well. But yeah, we do need at least another centre forward in there. But I think the players that are going to go in this summer, I definitely believe that Jones will go because he can't get in the team. I believe that Pereira and Lingard will definitely go because they are two liabilities. We'll negotiate on getting rid of Sanchez on a permanent transfer. Possibly David De Gea could go as well because Dean Henson could become our number one keeper. Probably we'll try and get rid of Smalling on a permanent transfer. There is a slight chance he could come back to Manchester United. So yeah, and we'll be hoping to generate over £200 million for the players that we do get rid of in the summer transfer window, and that. This is what Manchester United will be hoping. But Solskjaer's looking to buy into our history, and basically, want this team this day and age to replicate what the team did under Ferguson. Because, like I mentioned, we've had a lot of good players up and down the generations and that. So, do you think Solskjaer can become a success at Manchester United? I think we've made a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years as well. Let's put that into account. That's that's, we've made a lot of mistakes, yeah. That's one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. But not only the explanation, but one of the main explanations. But, we shall see. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, like on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.